Hello Internet, this is Mike Cox with Chef Mike's Baking Company. So today we are going to do these short ribs. My good friend Chef Jason Wiseman brought us some short ribs in, kind of a donation to the first video here. So I'm going to teach y'all how to break these down. This is going to be a 2 or 3 day process. The first process that we're going to do is just breaking them down, showing you how to get the kind of the meat towards the bone. We're going to smoke these. We're going to braise them. I'm going to do hopefully 3 to 4 different types. I've got 4 of these, and these things are massive. Usually when you go to buy a short rib, it is going to be a short bone short rib. This is more of a restaurant quality short rib here, and a restaurant what they would use in a restaurant. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to put some gloves on. We're going to break this thing down. We're going to walk through the whole process. I'm going to salt them so it will draw out some of the moisture. Since we're going to smoke them, we want to get some of this moisture out of there and some of the impurities out of the short ribs. So let's start with one of these, and I'll walk you through the whole process. Let me put some gloves on here. I'm sure y'all have plenty of gloves going on with COVID, so shouldn't be any problem with these things. I'm going to set one of these short ribs to the side. Grab some paper towels here. Alright, so good short rib is going to have some nice marbling in it, so you see that, and this is the top portion of the rib where all the meat sits, and then you have the bottom portion where your bones sit. There is a membrane, which I'm going to show you how to take this membrane off right here, and then we're going to score that so that when we do smoke it or we do braise it, it's actually going to suck up on the bones and the bones will come off easy. But first thing let's take this top fat cap off here. So be careful, you're going to need a real sharp knife while you're doing this. This is a beautiful piece of meat. It's got a lot of marbling in it. You'll notice with short ribs you'll have a lot of marbling. It's a good quality piece of meat. All that fat you want in there. It's going to help the smoke stick to it. So just going to take that off. And don't do this too fast because, you know, it does take a little time. This is a tough piece of meat, especially that top fat cap part. And you do not want to cut yourself. You do want a very sharp knife. And let me tell you something about this knife. We will get into the part where we're going to have different chef knives and stuff. But, you know, to start off with, you don't want to go out and buy those $100 chef knives or $100 boning knife to do this. You want to have something that you can practice with. And these are about $5 to $10. Real cheap knife, but you'll see that it's real sharp. It's already taken a piece of me, just wiping the blade off. That happens. So, still taking off the top fat part here. We want to get a good bit of this off so that we can actually see the meat. Oh, it's got beautiful marbling in it. And like I said, this is a 3-day process. I'm going to salt this, kind of dry up some of the moisture. Now, as we get further into our show here, I'm actually going to talk to you about taking this different pieces of beef, and you can actually make your own ground meat with this. You need the fat in ground beef, and you've seen on ground beef in stores it'll say like 80-20 or 7-25. Well, or 75-25, sorry. All equals 100%. So when you're doing that, your beef has actually got 25% fat, and then 75% beef. Comes up to 100. So we've gotten a lot of this off right here. We're gonna look around here on this side right here and kind of just take off some of this right here. This is sinew. It's not edible. It's actually too chewy to do anything with. And I'm sorry I'm not talking as very much because this is a process that takes some concentration. All right, so we look on here. We've gotten our fat cap off at the top of here. We're going to salt this part here, just because you want to draw out that moisture, kind of make it like a dry aged beef. So I'm going to salt it for 24 hours, rinse the salt off, and then pat it dry, and that's going to help that smoke to stick or whatever sauce that we're going to put in it. So, but back here, if you don't take this, there's two membranes here. One that's the top, it's inedible. It's very hard. It can be tough to get off, but I'm going to show you an easy process. So let me reach down in this drawer and get a fork. So we're going to take this fork and kind of run up under the bottom of it here. So you hear that? It actually sounds like you're tearing skin. So you want to make sure that you get under there really good. Alright, so, and this is just a small membrane here. So my wife is behind the camera going, oh my goodness, no. But we want to take this off because, like I said, this is inedible. You can do this with your hand, or you can take a paper towel and do it. But you have got to get this off. Alright, so we have removed this. Now, you do want to throw this in the trash. You can't add this to ground beef or anything like that. So, I'm going to step over here and throw this in the trash right quick. Alright, so now what we want to do is we've got that membrane off, and we need to score the meat on the back side, because when you smoke this, if you leave it like this, the meat is just going to tense up. It'll tense up on the bone. It won't cook properly all the way through here. So if you're going for 165 degrees done, then out here will be 165, but if you don't score it, none of this will be. So we're going to take our knife and we're just going to run down the middle here, just like that. Always good to have a sharp knife, guys. Always good to have a sharp knife, especially when you're doing the meat like this. And then go on the outside here. Okay, something else that I learned is if you want the meat to actually kind of move forward off the bone so that you have like a lollipop bone, you're going to take this in right here, just score this just a little bit. And that's going to help to remove that bone out of there. Now, if you wanted the bone to come completely out, you would run a line right down the middle of the bone, and it would actually go around the bone, and you could just slide that bone completely out. But we want to see this bone right here when we get finished. Alright, so we've got our meat done. It's ready to be processed to smoke. So I'm going to take these gloves off. Good thing to do if you don't like touching meat or anything like that, take your glove, put your glove over the top of it, and then roll your glove over your excess here. Nice little trick there. Then you just got a little package of raw meat that you can just throw away. Alright, so we're going to salt it. Tomorrow we're going to rinse the salt off of this, and we're going to season it. We're going to actually rub it. Now when you're doing this, you want an ample supply. Salt this thing really good. Okay. And this is just kosher salt, just regular kosher salt. You can get kosher salt anywhere. You can use pink Himalayan salt. You can use black salt. It really doesn't matter. But when you're doing the first process, you just want to use a regular grain salt. Salts that are finishing salts, pink Himalayans, black salt, stuff like that. You always want to use that to finish. So regular kosher salt. Okay, so we have got our meat prepped. We're going to lay this out on a sheet pan and we're going to stick it in the cooler. Hey guys, I wanted to come back here and show you these short ribs after I got all 4 of them broke down. We've salted all of them. We got some beautiful marbling in these wonderful short ribs that we got. And just wanted to say, I'm going to take these videos and we're going to put them together. And I'm going to actually do it on the computer and stitch, or what they call stitch, the videos together. So it will be a 3-day process, but you'll only see it in about 15 to 20 minutes. Remember, this is our first video and we're doing a learning video for cooks and chefs. So this chef will be learning how to use this video probably today and for the rest of his life, I guess, or as long as we do these videos at Chef Mike's Baking Co. So I just wanted to let you know, bear with us. We're going to do some wonderful food here though, and this is just going to be one of them. Do not be intimidated by the food that we do, because these are things that you can get in your at your local butcher. You may not get them exactly like I can get them, but I'm going to tell you how to get them. Things like this come from Costco, things where you can buy in bulk. And in my introduction video, we talked about buying bulk foods. This right here will feed an army. So, like I said, this is going to be, this process right here, just the salting and rendering out the moisture, is going to be 24 hours. This is going to be a 2 to 3 day video. Like I said, you'll only get the 15 to 20 minute snippet. I'm going to marinate them, and I'll do short little videos as we go throughout the process and just, bring them all together for you. So, like I said, I'll be back hopefully tomorrow just to show you the rinsing process of these, and then what we're going to marinate them in, which will be something like this, a smoky mesquite marinade here. I'm going to do a teriyaki one. I've got some Chipotle rub I'm going to do one in. And then one I just want to smoke with salt and pepper. Just because when you do something this nice, you want to taste the meat. You want to taste all these marinades and stuff. And we'll get into that more often when we get further along in our videos. Just the seasoning process of different meats, and you're wanting beef flavors and not kill everything with marinades and salts and powders. We're going to do it simple. So, y'all come back, or I will be back tomorrow. Have a good night. So we are back 24 hours later, and yes, I'm wearing the same clothes. Like I said, I'm a professional chef, so this is what I wear every day. But we're going to do our second part of our long bone short ribs here. So we have let them sit for 24 hours with the salt on them. You can feel a little bit of tackiness to them. And what we're going to do is we're going to cold water rinse them just to get some of the impurities off, because that's what salt does. It draws out the moisture, and it also takes some of the impurities off of it. Now, I know what you're going to say is, if we're drawing out moisture, why don't we put moisture back on? Well, salt is just like lemon juice to your skin. It takes it, it puckers it up, and it closes up those pores. So you're actually just going to wash the salt off, and it's not going to get into the meat. You're still going to have that tackiness. If you could feel this, and if we had smell-o-vision and feel-o-vision and all that, you could actually see what I'm talking about here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take this and just kind of rinse it off a little bit. Just a little, just want to kind of wipe it off a little bit. Then we're going to take some paper towels and just going to pat it dry. I mean, you still got the stickiness, the tackiness of it. What this does is it helps with the smoke to adhere. All right. So we've got 3 different kinds of dry rubs here. We're going to do a coffee rub. We've got a Chipotle citrus rub. And then we've got like a kind of smoky bacon rub. And sometimes, if you want to take these rubs and have them adhere to your meat without doing the process of salting, you can use a binder. Binders can sometimes be something that is sweet, something that is vinegar. So we're not going to use that this time because we've taken the salt, and this is actually going to stick to it real well. Some short ribs people do mustards. You can do whole grain mustard, you can do Dijon, you can do yellow mustard. Doesn't really matter. But for this application here, all we're going to do is straight dry rub to the meat. So first one we're going to do is a Chipotle. When you're buying rubs and stuff to use for meats, you always want to taste them because you want to see what the salt content next to the sugar content is going to be. Because if it has too much sugar, that's all that you're going to taste when you're doing the smoke. You want a nice balance of salt and sugar. Alright, so we've got our rub on this one. Man, you can really smell the orange and the lemon in this. So we've got it on there. These are called rubs, but you never want to rub this because you're going to rub it in. You're going to kind of, it's going to just, you won't get it evenly. So we're just going to kind of pat, press down. Because you want a nice crust. And you're going to let this sit for another 24 hours. And this is really going to break down this meat. So, I'll make sure you get it all over. Now, it is not going to do any good to do the bottom side. When you smoke these, you're going to smoke them like this. You're not going to turn them over. So, smoke comes up, it's going to circulate. So there will be no flavor. Plus you got most of your bone right here. All of the juices are going to kind of run down. So we're going to do, that was our Chipotle citrus rub. We're going to rinse this one off here. Just a little bit. I'll take another paper towel. I'm going to wipe it down. Kind of pat it down some. We're going to do this kind of coffee rub. This one's a little sweet too. So we're just going to put it on here. This is a very strong rub here, so you don't need very much of it. And you can move it around once you get it onto the meat. So, see, nice even coat. Alright, so these two will sit for 24 hours. I'm going to leave those right there so you can see them. If I can get it to balance here. There we go. There we go. Alright, when you salt your meat and you put it for 24 hours, when we're trying to release some moisture, it's good to have the weight on top of it because that helps release some of the moisture. So, we put it on top, and it is releasing moisture, and it is tacky. So, I'm going to take this one, we're going to rinse this one off. And we're going to do a little something different with this one. We're actually going to use a wet rub with this. Actually, I'm sorry, not a wet rub, a wet marinade with this. So, I've got a Ziploc bag here. We're going to do this one Asian style. So I've got a chili sauce in here, I've got soy sauce in here, I've got a little bit of lemon juice in here, and I've got a sugar marinade in here. So it makes it kind of dark. And we're just going to stick this one in here. You want to make sure that it gets all on it. Just kind of rub it down too. And you're going to let this one sit exactly for 24 hours too. So zip this one up. I'm going to push some of the air out of it. Make sure it gets all on there. So this one right here is going to be really nice. It's nice marinade, big Ziploc bag, big marinade. Now, this one, I wanted to show y'all this. If you can see the marbling and the fat in this meat, it almost looks like Kobe beef here. Really beautiful marbling. We took that fat off. All of this fat is going to render and it's going to shrink up and push off of these bones. When we get finished with this one, you'll be able to slide that bone right off that meat. It's going to be really nice. Really excited about this one. All right, so we're going to rinse this off. And we're going to do our last rub here. All right, we'll take our paper towel. Dry it off a little bit. Still feel the tackiness. You're not taking anything else off of it. All right, then we're going to use our little bit of smoked bacon rub and salt. Just coat it really well. And again, you just want to pat this. You don't want to rub them in. Get them all nice and patted down. All right, so we have 4 different ones. We've got a coffee one, we've got a citrus chipotle, we've got a bacon smoke, and then we've got a teriyaki marinade. We're going to let this sit for another 24 hours, and then we'll start the smoking process and the braising process. 48 hours with this meat is very exciting. It actually changes shape to some extent. It shrinks up, it releases moisture, it takes out some of the impurities of the meat, and then when we're going to smoke it and braise it, it's going to... Hey guys, how y'all doing today? It is a beautiful day for smoking here. And I've got Chef Jason Wiseman with me, who donated our meat for this first video. And we've got our stuff ready to go here. So we've got our chipotle, we've got our coffee, and we've got our bacon. I've also brought out some wood here that we're going to be smoking with. I've got some cedar wood here. I've got some pecan wood. And then I like to start off with the Jack Daniel's charcoal bricks. They're just really nice. It's going to give that hint of almost like a whiskey barrel type. So we've got our smoker going. We're at like 400 degrees. So we'll adjust as we go, kind of tone the temperature down here. The other short rib is in the oven. We're going to cook it for about 4 hours. So anything you'd like to say about these short ribs?
Nope, we're going to have a lot of new different flavors here. You're going to see a lot of different steps as they all get cooked. We'll explain the flavor profile of each one, and we'll give you guys something to try at home. I think you all enjoy.
All right, so let's get this started. Let's put these things on here. So the first thing we're going to do is we've got our smoke in our tank here, really nice. Got some nice airflow going so that the smoke will actually run through. This is an offset smoker. So what you do is you put the wood down here, you get you a nice fire going, and as the oxygen pushes through, it's actually going to push out the thing. So we'll close this up here. So we're going to add another piece of wood on there so we can keep this home fire burning, so to say. What we're also going to do is I want to finish off with a piece of this pecan wood, because just smoking purposes, if you wanted to go with just pecan all the time and have nothing but pecan, that's fine. But if you're just going to smoke it, it's going to take about 5 to 6 hours. You want something that's going to be hard and last long, and then at the end you can finish up with that pecan and you'll actually get that pecan wood flavor out of it. So, and then our temperature here on this is going to be around 250, maybe 300. We'll have to adjust as we go, and that's just putting water on the inside of the grill or adjusting the fire. It's all different kinds of steps, and we'll get into this further as we go too, just so you can see. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our meat on the grill. We want to put the thicker pieces towards the front, just because these are going to take a little bit longer to cook and there'll be more fat. As the fat renders out, it's actually going to make the heat higher, and we don't want to burn our smaller ribs. And these aren't small by no means, but they are thinner, if you can see. They're thinner than this guy right here is going to be. We'll put one towards the back, one towards the front. I hope I can get all these things on there. These are huge. And then we're going to put this one right here, our coffee one right here. It's okay to prop them up a little bit, because all these juices are going to render out and we are going to be just fine. They're going to smoke just fine. So we got our meat on there. We got our wood going. We're ready to go, guys. This is going to take about 4 hours. I'm going to show you the process an hour at a time. We've got the one in the oven that's going to take about 4 hours, and come back now. And you can also see that the temperature when you open this thing up is also dropping. So we'll do this accordingly, maybe about every 30 minutes or so. if it gets up to that 400 degrees where it's cooking too fast, I'll come and prop this open for a minute just to get the temperature back down to about 250 to 300 degrees. So join me again. We'll see you in about an hour so you can check this out. Hey guys, we're back, and it's been about an hour, hour and a half, I'm thinking. We are sitting at 200 degrees on our short ribs, and I want to show you here. We let it go for about an hour and a half on the one log that we did. So, and put another log on there, and then I put a real dense log on there because I want this to burn low and slow. Anytime you introduce oxygens to flames, it's going to flame up like it's doing right now. So we're going to try to keep it controlled on our heat. We've got the other side open over here just so that we can get the oxygen flowing in and move through the grill here. So I'll let y'all see that for a minute. Alright, we're going to close this up, leave our air going, and then our short ribs are looking beautiful. So we're actually going to move around some meat here. We've got the bacon smoked one, which was a little bit denser. You can see how the bones are actually moving forward out of the meat. It's going to really shrink up nicely. This is what our salt helped with, to draw out that moisture. So I'm going to take this one, since it seems to be cooking a little bit slower, and you can see the smoke ring here too. You can see the fat. Our season is doing real nice, got a real nice crust on this. So we're just going to move this one right here because I want more smoke on it. Here, we'll take this one and we'll put it to the front. And then this one right here is doing really nice. It's getting all the smoke. These should be done probably in the next 2 hours. They are still raw. You can still see how it's giving. Once it starts really getting done, it won't give as much. So this is about an hour and 15 minutes in, and I wanted to show you this. So we're looking real good. So we'll come back in about an hour, another hour, hour and a half, and show you the process from there. Right, we're going to check on our teriyaki short rib here. We'll pull it out of the oven. I've had it set at about 350. We are about an hour and a half into, so we'll see where we are here. This is going to be like a roast, almost. Let's see what this looks like. This one is going to take a little bit longer. Oh yeah. So it's got some real nice marbling going on there. Got some bones releasing. What I might do with this one is when we get closer to being finished, I'm actually going to take this one and stick it on the grill and get some marks on it so that it'll be really nice and caramelized on there. So just wanted to show you this one. Like I said, we're about an hour and a half in. We're cooking at 350 here, so we're probably going to be three and a half hours on this one. So we'll come back and show you again in about an hour and a half. All right, guys, we are at our 3 hour mark here. We have added our last piece of wood to the fire. We got some nice hot coals going there. We are sitting at 260 degrees in the meat, and look at this. What a bunch of beauties there. Give y'all a minute just to meditate on the beauty of this meat here. Alright, so what we have done, we have salted our meat. We have marinated and rubbed our meat, and then we came out here and we smoked it. And we also did a braised version too with the teriyaki. But I took the teriyaki out of the oven because when you put something in the oven and you cover it, it's just like boiling a piece of meat. So I wanted to get some smoke flavor on the teriyaki. Remember when I said that we put the salt on there, that the salt would draw it up and it would help with the bones to remove? Well, that's what's happening here. The meat is actually shrunk and the bones are actually going to just fall off of there. So really nice meats here. We got our coffee, we've got our bacon, and then we've got our teriyaki, and then our other one, our citrus chipotle, it's already done. So we've got it in there just kind of resting. We're going to let this go for probably another hour. We're going to let this fire die out and just the smoke just kind of rotate in the smoker here, and then we'll come back to you with the slicing and how to take these bones out. All right, guys, we have salted these, rubbed them, smoked them, braised them, done all of the above here. We've got 4 beautiful long bone short ribs, and we are going to do a little plate presentation for you. We have our Chipotle citrus here. We have our smoked bacon flavored here. We've got under the bottom here, we've got our coffee, and then we've got our teriyaki here. So, the process is done. It took about 3 days to do, about 4 hours to smoke, and we are ready to eat these things. So I'm going to take 3 of these off. I'm going to show you how to remove the bones, how to slice this meat up so you'll be ready to go when you do this at your house. Alright, so we're going to set all these to the side. Now remember when we scored on the back side of this, how the bones, how I said they'll just fall out? Well, I was right. Look at this. Just an easy remove here. Now you've got nothing but meat. See how that just falls off? You got your smoke ring on the bone. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And as Chef Wiseman said, we'll give these bones to the dogs and they're going to love me for days. Alright, so we got our bones taken off. You always want to cut across the meat here, so we're just going to cut this down right here. Look at that. Beautiful smoke ring, beautiful fat here. That's about where it goes, where your bones were. Alright, so we got some beautiful meat there. Alright, I've got a plate over there with some polenta and Brussels sprouts on it. So we're going to slice up a few pieces of this. We're going to lay it out on the plate for you. You're still going to want a sharp knife for this because you don't want this to cut you here. Alright. I'm going to take and layer our meat on there. Now if this was dry, you would want some kind of gravy or sauce or something like that. This meat's not dry at all, so you can eat it just like this. Take another little piece of this one right here. And there we go. We have our plate presentation with polenta, Brussels sprouts, and long bone short ribs 4 different ways. Give y'all a minute to meditate on how beautiful that is. I wish we did have smell-o-vision and feel-o-vision because this meat is beautiful. Alright guys, so I thank you for joining us on this little small venture of cooking short ribs. I'm not sure what the next video is going to be yet, but we are going to do something just as amazing. Hopefully it won't take 4 days to do. Hopefully we can get 2 videos in each week. And please, check us out on YouTube, Chef Mike's Baking Co. And just do that like and subscribe button for me. And I'll see you back here next time. Thank you.